My name is Ernest Oriente. I am a business coach and a business advisor. For the last 18 years, I work with companies and organizations around the world. I am happily married, 25 years. My wonderful wife has been extraordinary. I think we all sort of pause on the day that we're going to say I do, and we have big, lofty dreams and joy. And in my case, every dream I could ever imagine has come true. I have a fantastic best friend, an incredible wife, and an amazing mother. Why do I say all these things? Because we have 3 children, one who's 17, one who's 19, and 21. Our first 2, to put in perspective, and I'm going to bring this back around to our youngest because it relates to Athletic West. Our first 2 are in college. One is a senior and one is a sophomore. They both finished in the top of their class. I never once heard my wife say, you will get an A. I never once heard my wife say, you will work harder, be top of the class. She basically rolled it out and just said, look, here are your dreams, and let's see how we can work and get there together. She started from dark to dark. Many a day, 5, 6 in the morning. Many a night, 10, 11, midnight, 1 in the morning. Some of the nights became so large I had to go find a man cave called a sofa in another room so I could go to sleep so she wouldn't wake me when she came in. That was my deal. Hey, if you're going to rock with the kids till 10, 11, 12, hey, let me scoot to the side. Let me crash a little early, and I'll see you in the morning. Hey, I love you. Our first son, as a result of this little model, is at Wharton. If any of you know, he's at the University of Pennsylvania, one of the 8 Ivies, going back to Ben Franklin. They just welcomed him in their 274th class. Think about that. 274 years ago, Ben Franklin had a vision. Wharton is the #1 business school in the world. He's on the way to Wall Street. 10 days into his senior year, he has a signing bonus and a 6-figure compensation package that has me falling out of my chair, literally falling out of my chair. My daughter follows right behind, looks at about 20, 25 colleges, decides that UPenn matches up what she wants. She's going on to get a PPE degree. She's at the top of her class. She's also there. They're 3 blocks away from each other. Why do I share this piece? Because my wife and I come from a simple background. My grandmother is Puerto Rican, never spoke a word of English. My father worked with his hands until almost his 70s, worked in the kitchens, worked in moving. My grandparents from Italy never even drove a car. Why is all of this relevant? Because we didn't have a roadmap, but we sort of knew what the academic path was. We sort of understood that you had to do really well on your grades. You had to have community service. You had to be involved. We sort of understood that you had to do well on your SATs. My oldest son got a 790 of 800. What does that mean? It meant that he got every answer right and skipped 1. Now, again, this was his drive and his vision. And why is this all relevant? Because you could probably pause and say, man, under your roof, Ernest, some pretty good things have gone on. You've got 2 kids that have gone down a path. You have a wonderful wife that has guided them. Couldn't be more blessed. But then our third. Our third is our youngest. His name is Thomas. Thomas is 6'8", 225. Unbelievable athlete, loves his basketball. That is his deal. And his dream is to play college basketball. And I tell all of you this because while we understood the academic path and we understood what it was going to take for our other 2 to go to the colleges of their choice, we had absolutely no clue what it was going to take for our youngest son to achieve his dreams and goals. In fact, we were lost. About 2 years ago, we began to Google search a little bit. We began to hear a little bit about firms and groups that provided scholarships or that would help parents with their children get sports scholarships. We were skeptical. We didn't quite know the path. Frankly, we probably might even have been a little overconfident because, when you sort of send one to one of the top Ivies and you turn back around again and you do it again, it's like Babe Ruth pointing to center field and saying, oh, I'm going to hit to chair number 53, and our first son does it. Our daughter gets up 2 years later and says, I'm going to hit the chair number 96, and she does it. So you can only imagine through the voice and the filter that I'm sharing with all of you that we were utterly lost with how to navigate our son in terms of basketball. We didn't know. In 9th grade, we reached out to the counselor and said, what classes do you take? How do you balance academics with the sports? Our other 2 would get home at 3 in the afternoon. They would study till midnight. He was walking in at 10 o'clock at night, through the doors, doing the best he could to midnight, tired, drained, falling asleep in his books, and dragging out of bed the next day. Oh, and by the way, the basketball, the workouts, the lifting, in most cases, Where he goes to school is literally 7 days a week, and it's about 50 weeks a year. It's a really big commitment. A far cry from my days when, you played a little soccer over here and a little baseball over there, and you ran track over there, and that was about it. You just kind of wandered around. Man, has it gotten specialized, and man, has it gotten humbling, because when you weave together the internet, and when you weave together email, when you weave together, Facebook and Twitter and blogs and camps and all this stuff coming at you. So about 2 years ago, my wife and I began a little Google search. I still have the searches that we did. I put them in a folder because, again, I was lost. And I said, we'll work on this together. And we began to reach out to recruiting groups, and she booked an appointment one evening. I'll never forget. We were there together, myself, my wife, my son. And we stepped into this meeting, probably 30 or 40 minutes, without naming the particular group. We sort of wandered in and rolled along. And as we rolled along, we started to feel like we were getting some answers and starting to track along. And then some of the strangest, most unusual, most uncomfortable questions began to roll out. It was worse than a used car salesperson, respectfully. It was absolutely horrible. The meeting was going terrible. The questions that were being asked were inappropriate. Our son is there, and it was embarrassing because there were questions being asked. If we did this, this, and that, would you tonight sign this, this, and that? We were like, hey, we're just trying to understand. We're trying to build a relationship. We don't even know who you are, but this is not going well. And I remember coming off the call, looking at my wife, saying, what in the world was that? Is that what we're stepping into? Is that how this works? I'm appalled. Hey, remember the searches we did? Let's keep poking around. But by the way, I want you to get me tomorrow the president of that company. On the line, the president, I want a phone call. Because I want them to know how we were treated. I want them to know how poorly we were treated. I want them to know that what happened last night was not even close to what my expectations were. And I reached out to that president, and I told him exactly how I felt. I told him how disappointed I was. I told him what I heard and the way that we were treated. I told him it was completely over the top. And the president barely apologized, hung up the phone, never heard from the president, never heard again from the recruiting group, and that was the end. By the way, that recruiting firm sort of understands this world, but it gives you a sense of what's out there. And then we went to the next two, and it continued on. And it was like, you know what? This is not going to happen. This is not working. There is no way that we're going to build the trust and the confidence in order to have our son go down a path, because what we're seeing here is completely not even close to professional. Until, in a serendipitous way, we were connected to Athletic Quest. Everything changed. The connection with your group was fantastic. The connection with the recruiter that we spoke with as we were navigating through, we were getting answers. Reaching out to the president of Athletic Quest was a real conversation with someone who really understood what goes on. And then we understood about the college coaches and the involvement and the commitment and the program. We learned about the skill set. We learned about the mentoring. We learned about the video program. We learned about the national marketing program. We learned that our son would learn how to speak to coaches, starting with, yes, sir. And that's kind of a rolling thing around our home, and we love it. Tonight, before I joined all of you, I listened to my son again speaking to another coach. He has more than 40 coaches that he's speaking with right now by email, that call him directly, that want to know what's going on. And you should hear the yes sirs that are firing off. You should see the confidence that he has. You should see the pep in his step, the swing in his swagger. If you saw what we are seeing a young man reaching his dreams. And what we're seeing is an incredible amount of confidence, because he's excited and he knows what he's going to be doing, and he knows how to handle these phone calls, and he knows what to say and what not to say, and he knows how to build a binder on the back end so he can keep track of his notes. And working side by side with my wife again, who's working in tandem like she did with our first two children, she's starting all over again because she has the tools and resources to help him win, to help guide him, to help him get unbelievable opportunities. And all of that is happening because of Athletic Quest. Through the eyes and filter of a parent, I get choked up telling you the story, because our son would never have accomplished his dream. He would not be here today because we were lost. And we're smart parents, and we care about our children like all of the parents that are out there navigating as well. But here's what I can positively tell you. You cannot do this alone. You cannot do it by yourself. Why? Because you're only going to do this once in your lifetime. What does that mean? You will never be good or great. You're going to be abysmal at it. You're going to fail. And you're going to look back 10 and 20 years from today and say, I did not give my Tommy or my Johnny or my Mary what they needed. I did not give them the tools and resources. I did not give them the opportunity. And let's roll the clock back and let's talk about what college means. Look at the opportunity that college brings. It means you're going to earn more than $1 million more in your lifetime. And if you really do it well, you might be north of $2 or $3 million more than those who do get college versus those who don't. Those who go to great colleges versus those that don't. And I must tell all of you, my wife and I went to small colleges in Florida. Small colleges. We have no pedigree to be talking about this. We have no, neither of us went to Harvard or Yale or Brown or Columbia. That's not on our resume. So, we didn't quite understand or get the power of an education. But let me tell you, talk about children teaching parents, watching through the eyes and the filter of our older two. Oh, my gosh. My daughter tells me about being on the student council, and she gives presentations to Amy Gutman. Amy Gutman, one of the most influential presidents of colleges. She travels around the world. She'll open any door you could possibly need. My daughter walks in one door to make a presentation to Amy. Amy walks in the other door. 2 doors in the same room. She tells me, Dad, is this like the White House where the president comes through one side and it's that? I said, I think so. She said there were M&Ms though on the table. I had a few. My son over at Wharton is going to speak at graduation next year. Holy smokes. He actually welcomed in the new student body and spoke with the dean and the assistant dean to all of the new students. 500 of the most coveted seats of the new freshmen. He's up speaking to them about the things that he's learned. The power of education, the power of the opportunities. And so as I wrap this up here this evening through the voice of a parent, I say to all of you, and to all of you who are listening to this, you cannot do it alone. You must engage the team at Athletic Quest. They know exactly what they're doing. They are the only recruiting firm in the world, and we did our research. They are the only recruiting firm in the world that works with college coaches. This college coach is working with your son or daughter. Everything they tell you and more is there. They will deliver on it. They will stand behind it. There are no smoke and mirrors. They know exactly how to help you. And you only get one pass, one time, one opportunity. And please, when you think about the financial side of the house, when you think about the cost of a college education, when you roll up tutoring, books, meals, education, I know I've got 2 in Ivy League schools. I can tell you it's north of $70,000 a year. And by the way, there were no scholarships for that. That's per year, 4 years times 2. Run the numbers. I'm getting ready to go down the path of my third. And quite honestly, basketball is his passion. If not, we would be doing this again. We started saving for college more than 10 years ago and putting money away, just wondering where our children would go. But our youngest has a passion to play sports. He wants to participate in college, and that is his dream. Our dream is we want what? A great education on one side. And what does he want? Basketball. Somewhere in the middle, we're going to meet halfway, and he's going to get there. But we only are here and only having this conversation because of the work of John and Chad and your team here at Athletic Quest. There is nobody on the planet who knows how to do it, how to handle it like they do. And for those of you that are listening as I conclude today, my name is Ernest Oriente. Go into LinkedIn. You'll find me there. If you ever have a question or you ever want to talk about a parent who understands the process, I would be absolutely, positively delighted to speak with you.